What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be revisiting a team that I showcased over 2 years ago on the channel that carried me to legend the first time we had the Willpower Cup, consisting of Lucario in the lead, Shadow Sableye as the safe swap, and Claydol as the closer. Now back then these three Pokemon were definitely anti-meta picks, not necessarily the strongest generalists, but very good at core breaking teams. However, a lot has changed since then, and actually all three of these Pokemon have received buffs since I made that video, but of course the meta has also changed with tons of move updates, new Pokemon being released, and as well Gardevoir is no longer banned. So how does this team hold up in the current meta? Well, to be honest, it might be even stronger than it was back then, as I was able to gain over 200 elo going 20-5 on the day. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What do you think is the most underrated Pokemon in the Willpower Cup so far? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so go into the first battle, leading Lucario into Claydol. Obviously a very bad matchup for us. You can see as well, I'm not even running Shadow Ball, so definitely need to get the heck out of there. Gonna safe swap into my Shadow Sableye, and unfortunately I throw on very poor timing up against the Shadow Gardevoir coming in, meaning they get a full charm in for free, so very poor there. Obviously if I threw it on better timing, could have got off maybe one or two more Shadow Claws up against the Gardevoir, getting them into a much deeper red health range. But either way, we still get the farm down before they make it to another charge move, but they're running double charm. So honestly, possibly the worst thing this team could face is going to be Claydol double charm, but they swap back into Claydol after letting that move go through there. I can now shield this as the opponent goes for Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands is going to drop my attack, unfortunately. I'm going to go for the Ice Beam anyways, grab the final shield, and Lucario, whilst it might not be running Shadow Ball, it just does not matter here. We've got this Claydol into range where even if they debuff my attack with the Scorching Sands, which they do, I can still get the KO with the Close Combat. Close Combat taking out the Claydol, one more Force Palm takes out the Hatterini there, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle, Lucario into Primeape. So not a great matchup for us, although I will still have more fast move pressure than the Primeape. I'm going to swap into my Shadow Sableye, and we bait out a Mandibuzz, which is huge for me. This is definitely the intentions, to bait out a Mandibuzz with the Shadow Sableye, because of course Claydol, whilst it does have coverage in Ice Beam and it does get there a bit faster, now that of course Mud Slap generates energy faster, it's still not a great matchup. But Sableye grabs a shield with the first Power Gem. We throw the second Power Gem. They do overfarm here, but that's absolutely okay. I'm going to no shield. We've grabbed that shield advantage. We can come back in with the Lucario, and if I want to, I might actually use a single shield and then go for a full Force Palm farm down. But let's see, I'm going to, nope, never mind, I'm going to no shield this. Can we go for a full farm down before they make it to back-to-back charge moves? We absolutely can, and we come out with the Close Combat loaded, so I'm throwing it straight away. The opponent might not expect this. Close Combat gets the one shot up against the Primeape. I'm going to swap into my Claydol. They've got a Shadow Drapion. They're actually going to go straight for an Aqua Tail here, so I'm going to no shield. I would have no shielded anyways, as Claydol is bulky enough to tank any one charge move, but at this point I'm going to go for a 2 shield flex up against this opponent just because I can. The opponent recognizing there's nothing they can do here, so they just concede the match. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. Going to see a Drapion in the lead this time around. So this is a very good matchup for us. And again, this might be a matchup where running Close Combat, the opponent might just not expect it and no shield. So we're going to fire the charge move immediately, unfortunately throwing on alignment here. But if they no shield, it doesn't matter as Close Combat gets the KO. Going to wait to see what comes in here. The opponent comes in with a Shadow Gardevoir. We swap into our Shadow Sableye. I go for a foul play. The opponent actually makes a catch onto, I think that might have been a Quillfish there. It is a Quillfish, but that's absolutely okay with me. We can come in with Lucario, basically just force the opponent to throw their energy as soon as possible, because of course we are going to double resist the Poison Jab damage, and they are running Poison Jab instead of Poison Sting, which means we can come in with the Claydol and we can go for a full Mud Slap farm down, and once again up against a Charmer, we can go for a 2 shield flex, farming them down with the Mud Slap damage, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle, Primeape in the lead once again. So once again, get a safe swap into my Shadow Sableye. They come in with a shiny Shadow Gardevoir, which is a very cool flex, but we're going to get to a foul play. The opponent no shields that. We actually flip switch advantage, and they come in with a Shadow Skuntank, and again, this is going to be game over here. We can come in with Lucario. It is very unlikely that they're running Flamethrower. It's probably going to be Trailblaze and Crunch, in which case we resist everything here. So we're going to no shield. We're going to go for a Thunder Punch here. I don't expect the opponent to shield here either. So Thunder Punch gets the KO. And now we can swap into our Claydol. And I'm definitely not going to shield the first charge move here, as of course Rage Fist is going to hit for super effective damage. But each time they throw it, they're going to boost up their attack. So now we should start shielding this. Going to shield up the Rage Fist. They should make it to another Rage Fist. Fist, but they're not going to make it to a 4th Rage Fist, meaning we can just safely shield up the Rage Fist, go for a full Mud Slap farm down here. Mud Slap takes out the Primate, and this time the opponent 2 shield flexes, but unfortunately for them, they still go down anyways. So GG's top over there, into next battle, we're going to see a Mandibuzz in the lead, so this is fine with us. I'm going to stay in with my Lucario, going to no-shield the first move. They are running Snarl, by the way, so if they're running Snarl, I don't typically shield the first move on my Lucario. If they're running Air Slash, then I probably will, but we're going to go for a Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch grabs a shield there. Now, Close Combat actually does a lot more damage than the Thunder Punch, despite the fact that Thunder Punch is super effective. Close Combat is just such a good move, so this time we're going for the Close Combat here. Close Combat grabs a shield. We're now going to swap into our Shadow Sableye, and we bait out a Gardevoir. So, of course, I'm going to go straight for the Foul Play. Foul Play is going to get the KO up against the Gardevoir. They come back in with the Mandibuzz. And at this point, we're going to let the Sableye go down. The opponent's going to go for the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace actually doesn't quite take us out there, which is worse for us as they get an extra Snarl in to farm us down. We're going to come back in with Lucario, and at this point, I'm definitely going to shield. I'm also just going to go straight for a Thunder Punch here. I'm not sure how much energy they've got, and it looks like that was a CMP tie, so that was necessary. Thunder Punch gets the KO, but they've got their own Claydol in the bag, and now this is just going to come down to whether or not they're running Shadow Ball. Typically, I think the right moveset on Claydol for this meta is Scorching Sands and Ice Beam, but unfortunately they are running Shadow Ball. Honestly, Claydol is like a Pokemon that's super hard to get the right moves for because it's just got so many different charge moves. So they're running Shadow Ball, probably running it from the Psychic Cup. Unfortunately, it does slightly more damage than the Ice Beam. It puts us into perfect farm down range. They come out with the Charge Move and they take out our Lucario there. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, going to see a Galarian Slowbro, and this is fine with us. Of course, I'm going to double resist the Poison Jab damage. Scald's still going to do a lot of damage, so I do use a shield there. And we're going to go straight for a Thunder Punch. Now, of course, I don't have Shadow Ball. I farmed up to the Shadow Ball. They do actually no-shield that. So now we're going to go for another Thunder Punch here. I don't expect the shield here. The opponent actually does shield this time. So we're going to come in with our Shadow Sableye. And if you're wondering why I've thrown a lot of times on alignment with my Lucario, it's mostly just because I don't expect the opponent to shield, so actually throwing on alignment doesn't really matter if they just let the Pokemon go down. But either way, we come in with our Shadow Sableye. We're able to make it to a second Power Gem. This should be grabbing a shield from the Mandibuzz, and it does exactly that. As well, on our Lucario, we've of course taken only double resisted Poison Jab damage, so actually I can no-shield an Aerial Ace there. I'm going to shield the next one here as the opponent does throw another Aerial Ace straight away. I go for a Thunder Punch, but the opponent makes a very nice catch there, so I'm going to fully undercharge this. And now I'm going to come in with my Claydol, get that Mud Slap farm down. They're going to come back in with the Mandibuzz, as of course, but they are probably just going to be running Foul Play as it is quicker to get to. Foul Play doesn't do too much damage there. I can now overfarm. I'm going to farm up to nearly 100 energy here. Go for the Earth Power. Earth Power from this range will get the KO, and they come in with a Drapion. And the reason I went for Earth Power there was just in case they swapped into like a Drapion, for example. But either way, a second Earth Power gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there. Into next battle, we're going to see Lucario into Quillfish. So a great lead matchup for us. The opponent safe swaps into a Gardevoir. So we're going to come in with our Claydol. And because we do swap out in time, I will just barely outpace them to an Earth Power before they make it to a potential triple Axle. Earth Power grabs the shield there. The opponent's waiting too long to throw their charge through. So I can just safely shield this up. The Mud Slap damage should get the KO. And that should go for a Shadow Ball there. So I guess that means they're not running triple Axle, otherwise they should have just gone for triple Axle there. But either way, Ice Beam is going to land. I don't want them to fully Snarl farm me down, so I swap into my Shadow Sableye. I'm just going to no-shield anything they throw here. The opponent is going to go and full send the Dark Pulse, dealing some decent damage there, but we can go for a Power Gem into the Quillfish, coming back in, and that's going to be game over. I don't think they really overfarm too much, so Aqua Tail gets the KO, but we can come back in with our Lucario. 2 Force Palms gets the KO, and we have an energy advantage up against the Mandibuzz. I'm able to outpace them to the charge move, go for a Thunder Punch here. The opponent recognizing that any one charge move they throw will not take us out, so they just let the move go through, and I'm able to take out the Mandibuzz and take that game. So GG's top on there. Into next battle, we can see Greninja in the lead. Once again, the opponent safe swaps into Shadow Gardevoir, and once again, I should be able to outpace them to that first charge move here. I'm going to go for the Earth Power. Earth Power should be grabbing a shield as the opponent probably likely to fight for switch advantage. I'm also going to shield this, but this time they do throw the triple axle straight away, so Charm is boosted, and as a result, they get a simultaneous KO. So this is basically just 100% luck here. We come in with the Lucario, and the opponent comes back in with Greninja, which is a huge call for us, but actually Unfortunately, Lucario was very strong up against their team, as a close combat gets the one-shot up against the Shadow Drapion. Once again, that is why I'm running close combat instead of Shadow Ball. Of course, Shadow Ball is great coverage, but it costs more energy, and a lot of the time you're going to grab a shield in the matchups up against certain Psychic-type Pokemon anyway, so might as well just run close combat for moments like that. But GG's to opponent there into next battle. Going to see Claydol in the lead once again. This time the opponent's very quick to swap into their Shadow Gardevoir, but we're still able to make it to a foul play, and actually from full health, Shadow Sableye up against a Shadow Gardevoir will just barely live 4 charms and always make it to a foul play. Now we come in with Claydol. Unfortunately, they do just barely get to a charge move here, so I'm going to shield this up. They go for the triple axle. Is it going to be another double charm team? No, they actually come in with Shadow Drapion, and I make a huge mistake here. I should have just gone for the Earth Power straight away. Now the opponents grab a shield advantage. I think they also dropped our attack there, which is, our defense there, which is definitely not ideal for us. But we go for an Earth Power. I'm going to bank an Ice Beam, and I'm hoping the opponent commits to a full farm down here, and they're going to do exactly that. But unfortunately, whilst I'm not running Shadow Ball here, I'm going to grab the final shield. It just comes down to CMP, and we lose CMP. I think actually Ice Beam probably wouldn't get the KO from this range anyways. The opponent running Shadow Ball there. It does take out our Claydol though, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into next battle. Gonna see Shadow Gardevoir in the lead once again. We say swap into our Sableye. They're just going to stay in, and as you can see, we can still make it to the foul play. Foul play grabs the shield here, and if they stay in with the Gardevoir, we can actually just go for a full Mud Slap farm down with our Claydol before they make it to the triple axle, which is very nice. And they're going to come in with a Mandibuzz, so it makes sense for them to not swap out of that matchup because they've got such a good response in Mandibuzz, but actually it's not anywhere near as bad as it used to be with Claydol. I'm going to no-shield this. The opponent is going to go for the Dark Pulse. We're now going to swap into our Lucario, and at this point I'm thinking there's no way they've got a second Fairy type in the back. Well, actually it could be the case. I think actually ABA Double Charm might be pretty strong in this meta just because opponents might not expect it, but either way we commit to a full farm down, and there is another Drapion. So once again, just going straight for close combat. Close combat grabs the final shield. We can make it to a second close combat, and this is a non-shadow, so it doesn't quite get the one shot, but it doesn't matter. The opponent throwing a charge move here. We can just shield it up the Aqua Tail. The Force Palm gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. We're going to see Oranguru in the lead. So the opponent's actually going to say swap into a Malamar, and this is fine with me. I don't throw straight away here. I'm actually not intending to throw any energy. Instead, I'm going to shield the first charge move, and then I'm actually going to swap, bank a ton of energy, come in with my Shadow Sableye. I should be able to live a foul play here fairly comfortably, but they actually superpower for some reason. Genuinely, I am baffled by that decision. I don't know if they just had really slow reactions and tried to superpower my Lucario, or if they just made a mistake and forgot the typing of Shadow Sableye, but either way, we can now go for a Power Gem. Power Gem grabs a shield from the Morpeko, and at this point, of course, I'm just going to no-shield this. The opponent goes for Psychic Fangs. What are they doing? That is such an unnecessary bait. They're throwing all the wrong moves right now. We can go for a foul play here. Foul play also not going to KO, but now we can swap into our Claydol. I can just safely shield this up. This will be a Dark Aura Will if they go for the Aura Will, which they do, and now they come back in with the Oranguru. They've got Trailblaze, they've got Brutal Swing for coverage, but it just doesn't matter as these Mud Slaps are chunking. Earth Power does big damage. It also drops their defense, which is very nice, and this will allow me to go for a full Mud Slap farm down, but not only that, I will come out with an Earth Power loaded, but to save time, I'm actually going to commit to a full Mud Slap farm down. But then the opponent goes and throws a charge move, which is so unnecessary. Psychic Fangs does such little damage there. Mud Slap gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle, Lucario into Lucario. So very cool to see the mirror match. I'm actually going to say swap into my Sableye straight away, and the opponent comes in with a Drapion now. Unfortunately we lose CMP, but this would just be an Aqua Tail, so Aqua Tail not going to do much damage there. Unfortunately a second Aqua Tail will pretty much take us out though, so that probably is the right play there because Crunch maybe doesn't quite put us into farm down range. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, I'm going to no-shield. The opponent goes for the Aqua Tail. It does take us out there, but we can come back in with Lucario, get the Force Palm farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. I'm thinking about swapping here if they come back in with their own Lucario, which they do, and they are going to swap out, but they are very slow to swap out into the Mandibuzz. We've got a pretty decent energy advantage here, so going to go straight for the Ice Beam. Ice Beam is going to be no-shielded by the Mandibuzz. I'm of course going to no-shield as well as the opponent goes for a Dark Pulse here, but but they are going to make it to another charge move. This should just be an aerial ace. Claydol is bulky enough to hang on there, make it to another Ice Beam, and that should be game over. Ice Beam grabs the shield from the Mandibuzz. Of course, I can go for a Thunder Punch here. I'm going to wait till they make it to the next charge move, go for a Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch is going to be no shield. The opponent recognizing there's nothing they can do anymore, so they're just going to go down to another Force Palm from my Lucario, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle, another Primeape in the lead. Gonna say swap into my Shadow Sableye, and the opponent very slow to swap out there, but they come in with the Morpeko. We're going straight for Power Gem. Power Gem does huge damage there, and that will allow me to flip switch advantage. At this point, I'm definitely gonna take it. We're gonna shield up the Aura Wheel as they go for a form change. Doesn't really matter. The opponent probably gonna come back in with the Primeape, and they're going straight for Rage Fist. Now, the issue here is that they can get out of control if they just continuously spam these Rage Fists. So gonna go for a foul play. I probably should actually just swap out of this matchup here, because the longer I stay in, whilst yes, I'm going to grab both shields, they're just going to get even more Karate Chops off, gain even more energy, and now Claydol is actually going to struggle a little bit here. I'm thinking they're probably going to make it to 3 Rage Fists before I even get a full Mud Slap farm down. So instead of shielding, I'm actually going to let both moves go through. Unfortunately, that doesn't quite take us out though, and that will be costly for us, because of course, we don't get the Mud Slap damage off, but now they're able to make it to another Rage Fist. Primeape getting out of control in this battle. We have to shield that up there as they were already double boosted, and they've got a Victini in the back. So this is where Shadow Ball would have been nice, but we actually wouldn't have quite got there in time. I wait for one fast move worth of energy there, and then swap out, hoping to make the catch. Unfortunately, the opponent holds onto the energy, really nicely played. They go for the V-Create, of course, taking out Lucario, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into the next battle. We're going to see a Shadow Gardevoir in the lead. They stay in initially, and then eventually swap into their Mandibuzz. So this is fine with me. I'm going to go for the Power Gem, dealing huge damage up against the Mandibuzz. And at this point, I'm going to let the Sableye go down. The opponent's going to go and fire off the Dark Pulse, which is absolutely fine with me. We're going to come in with our Lucario here, and typically I wouldn't shield this, but since they do have a Charmed Gardevoir in the lead, I'm not really going to have any chances to use shields up against the Gardevoir, so I might as well shield up an Aerial Ace, go straight for a Thunder Punch. This should be grabbing a shield back from the Gardevoir, and now I can swap into my Claydol. The opponent's going to stay in with their Gardevoir. They are going to fire off a Charge Move at the last possible second, so at this point, I'm just going to shield this, play it safe, and they've got a second Charm user in the form of a Shadow Gallade. So this is very interesting. Of course, Charm is non-stab on the Gallade, but they will actually reach a Charge Move on the CMP tie. But this is absolutely okay with me. They're forced to throw their energy, meaning Lucario can come back in. We will outpace them to a Thunder Punch, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to go for the resisted close combat. Close combat easily gets the KO there, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle, Morpeko in the lead, so a great lead matchup for us. They're going to say swap, and I thought that was going to be a Gardevoir, so I swap into my Claydol, but actually it ends up being a Galarian Rapidash, so not ideal for me. They go for Play Rough, which probably means they're not running Mega Horn, which is a plus, but unfortunately I was thinking it was probably going to be a Wild Charge and Body Slam Rapidash, in which case that would have been way better for us. But either way, I'm going to no shield, Body Slam gets the KO. We grab a shield advantage, which up against a Morpeko is definitely what you want. You don't want Morpeko to have a shield advantage up against you. And now we can just go straight for a Power Gem. And if the opponent does not respect the damage here, Power Gem once again does absolutely huge damage. At this point, I'm definitely just going to shield this, play it safe. They go for an Aura Wheel, and they're going to swap their form, but it doesn't matter. Honestly, they probably should have baited with a Psychic Fangs there, knowing that they were double weak to, well, at least weak to the Sableye in the back in the form of their Claydol. But now we can just safely shield this up here, even if they go for a debuff with the Scorching Sands, which they do. Our Foul Play is still going to take them out anyway, so Foul Play gets the KO. We can swap back into Lucario, one Force Palm, takes out the Morpeko, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle. We're going to see Drapion in the lead. So once again, a great matchup for us. And the opponent is going to overfarm. And once again, we're going straight for close combat here. Close combat, show no respect by the opponent. It gets the full-on one-shot. We swap into our Sableye, and the opponent makes a nice catch, but they catch it onto a Claydol, which doesn't make very much sense at all. So, and they no shield as well, so this is going to be game over now. Honestly, if they shielded that up there, could have been a little bit tricky for us, because of course we've got Lucario, which doesn't do very well into both the Gardevoir and the Claydol, but since they're in farm down range, this is looking fine, although they do debuff by attack, so Actually, instead of allowing them to get to another charge move here, I'm going to throw the Earth Power, then swap into my Lucario, basically waiting for them to go for a Scorching Sands, but instead, they just let it go down there. We can come in with the Claydol, we still got a shield, so of course, just going to play it safe, use my shield, Mud Sap takes out the Gardevoir, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there, into the next battle, can see a Rapidash in the lead this time. So I'm going to say swap into our Shadow Sableye, and the opponent stays in, they fire off a charge move after 5 Fairy Winds. So this time, I'm expecting it will be the Wild Charge, and it is the Wild Charge, but they swap into a Galarian Moltres. Now, I've seen a few Moltres here, I'm actually going to bait. Typically I went for Power Gem, and that just put me in a really bad position. So this time we bait, we grab a shield, we basically just force the opponent to throw the energy as soon as possible, which is ideal for us because if they overfarmed any more than that, I would have made it to another charge move. Now we can come in with Lucario, and I'm going to go for a Thunder Punch straight away. I don't want to have to use a shield here, so Thunder Punch is actually going to be shielded. So of course, if the opponent farms up and continues to farm up like they're doing, I'm definitely just going to respect the damage here. The opponent full sends the Brave Bird, we shield that up, we get the farm down there, they come back in with their Rapidash, and again, I'm going to throw it on poor timing, but I'm thinking Thunder Punch will get the KO, but no, it actually doesn't get the KO, but we get the snipe with our Claydol. They've got a Shadow Annihilate in the back, which could have been tricky for us, but all shields are down. Claydol is bulky enough to live the first Rage Fist pretty comfortably as well. I'm able to make it to an Earth Power, and at this point, I think the opponent just concedes the match there, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there, into the next battle, going to see a Claydol in the lead once again. So once again, going to say swap into our Shadow Sableye, and this time we're met with a Galarian Moltres. So these battles are actually slightly out of order. This is an example where I went for the Power Gem, and Power Gem is going to be shielded by the Moltres, and here the opponent does still overfarm just slightly, but Ancient Power will be getting the KO there. At this point, I'm going to come in with my Lucario, and once again, I don't really want to have to use a shield in this matchup, although possibly it would have been a better idea to go for a full Force Palm farm down instead, using one shield, because whilst I don't actually have coverage for the Claydol, the opponent does not know that, so maybe could have grabbed their final shield, but unfortunately for us, that is just an ABB style team with Galarian Moltres and Mandibuzz in the back, and unfortunately Claydol not going to do particularly well here, so we're going to go for the Ice Beam, and we will make it to another Ice Beam here, but honestly, it's not going to get the KO, so I probably shouldn't have thrown straight away here. I know this will not get the KO. I also know my switch clock just barely isn't up yet, so I'm going to have to double shield, but if I do this, they can just swap back into their own Claydol, and since all shields are down, there's just not a lot we can do here. The opponent's going to go and fire off a Scorching Sand, so possibly not running Shadow Ball or Ice Beam, but it just doesn't matter. We bank the Ice Beam, but they can very easily make it to another Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands gets the KO, and a Mud Slap will be taking out my Claydol, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG to opponent there, into the next battle, going to see a Mandibuzz in the lead, so this is fine with me. They're running Air Slash, so I will shield the first charge move here, but this is still absolutely fine with us. They're going to go for an Aerial straight away. I'm going to shield this. I'm going to farm up to at least back-to-back charges, but they actually swap into a Gardevoir. Now, it wasn't clear there, but I think they got off 2 charms, which is fine, but I didn't see that second charm, so a little bit annoying there. But luckily for me, I don't throw a charge move straight away. If I threw straight away, we would have been locked into a CMP tie, but as a result, I'm able to shield that up, go for the full farm down, come out with 100 energy as well, and the opponent's going to come back in with their Mandibuzz. We're going straight for the Ice Beam here, and hopefully we can make it to a second Ice Beam before they farm me down, and we're able to do just that. So Ice Beam number 2 will grab the final shield from the Mandibuzz. I'm now going to come in with my Sableye here just because I can sponge this energy. They actually swap into an Ice Fang Drapion, so I'm going to swap into my Lucario, just go straight for the close combat, and once again, close combat gets the one shot up against the Drapion. We can come in with our Sableye, and this will be game over. We can go for a Foul Play. Foul Play is resisted damage, but from such little HP, it takes out the Mandibuzz, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there, into possibly the final battle of this video. Another Mandibuzz in the lead. This time they are running Snarl, so as I mentioned here, I will no shield the first charge move if they're on Snarl, because of course they have very little fast speed pressure against us. I'm going to go for a Thunder Punch here, throwing on CMP. Maybe should have gone for the Close Combat, just because Close Combat probably would get the KO here, but Thunder Punch just doesn't do enough damage. Now, I could technically also live this and go and win the Zero Shield scenario, but instead, we're going to swap, bank all of this energy. Maybe that's a mistake here. Maybe I should have swapped into Claydol, because actually, we wouldn't be able to or sorry, they wouldn't be able to make it to another charge move up against my Claydol, whereas now they can come in and get a full charm farm down up against our Shadow Sableye, but we do still get the Mudslap farm down up against the Gardevoir, and they've got a Drapion in the back. So once again, Lucario is looking primed to sweep this game here. We can go for the charge move. The opponent will have to throw a move here. I'm of course not going to shield this. Lucario still has a ton of energy. They go for an Aqua Tail there, which we're able to live, meaning they have to throw another charge move. I figured there's no point swapping out there. Now we can come in with our Lucario, just have to be wary of a catch. So we go for a Thunder Punch. We wait one turn just to make sure they're still going for a Poison Sting, which they are. Thunder Punch gets the KO. One more Force Palm takes out the Mandibuzz, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.